Good morning, everyone. I hope that you are enjoying the 2024 Farmers Market Forum. Thank you for participating in the panel on Double Up Indiana, SNAP Matching Incentive Program Successes. And we've got four market managers, resources who will be addressing this issue. And if you'll give me just a couple of minutes, I'll introduce each of them and then they will start their presentation. So Mary Tyndall serves as the Food Programs Director for the St. Joseph Community Health Foundation in Fort Wayne. She manages the GusNIP-funded Double Up Indiana program in Allen County, as well as the Double Up Indiana Farmers Market program funded by the Indiana Department of Health. Mary also manages the Healthy Eating Active Living, or HEAL program, which consists of pop-up markets and food desert locations and healthy cooking and nutrition classes in churches, schools, and nonprofits. She manages all food insecurity grants awarded by the St. Joe Foundation, which is sponsored by the Catholic Order of the Poor Handmaids of Jesus Christ. Tyndall began her career as a television journalist, then transitioned into public relations and community development positions for the city of Fort Wayne, United Way of Greater Battle Creek, and United Way of Allen County. She's a current board member for the Union Street Public Market and graduated from DePauw University. Michelle is a registered dietitian who has worked in public health nutrition for over 15 years. She began her career with the Marion County Public Health Department in Indianapolis, Indiana. In 2018, she became the first nutrition incentive program manager, eventually evolving to the program director. In this role, she established and grew a produce prescription program and expanded an existing SNAP Matching Nutrition Incentive Program, or Fresh Bucks, as part of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, Racial and Ethnic Approaches to Community Health, or REACH project. Michelle is a skilled collaborator and has worked with healthcare systems, food retailers, and other stakeholders locally and nationally with the goal of equitably expanding nutritious food access. She is a subject matter expert in food as medicine program management, including securing grants, creating and executing project work plans, braiding and weaving diverse funding streams, and evaluation and quality improvement. Sustaining authentic relationships and good communication is her foundation in creating better policies and systems for equitable access to nutritious food. She has recently taken on a new role in the Division of Nutrition and Physical Activity at the Indiana Department of Health as the Food as Medicine Director. Allie Osburn serves as the Nutrition Incentive Program Specialist at the Marion County Public Health Department. She is responsible for managing the Indianapolis Fresh Bucks program, a nutrition incentive program that matches SNAP dollars spent on fresh fruits and vegetables at participating farmers markets and retail locations. With the goal to increase access and affordability of fresh fruits and vegetables for families on SNAP, she works to implement Fresh Bucks into new locations, provides program support to farmers markets and retail partners, and engages with the community and local stakeholders to increase program awareness. Beyond her professional role, Allie dedicates time to volunteer at the local farmers market and enjoys staying active through intramural sports and outdoor activities. She holds a degree in Health and Human Sciences from IUPUI. Shalise, whom you met yesterday, serves with enthusiasm as the program manager for the LFPA Track 2, where she takes charge of operations in the central region of Indianapolis. Her role revolves around supporting and strengthening local and regional food systems with a specific focus on empowering socially disadvantaged farmers and ranchers. Since 2021, Shalise has been at the helm of managing farmers markets, where she plays a crucial role in overseeing SNAP and Fresh Bucks programs. Her efforts aim to foster healthy eating habits and enhance food accessibility for the community. Shalise's passion extends to the well-being of children in Marion County and beyond, where she actively works towards exposing urban kids and families to the world of urban agriculture. Her ultimate goal is to empower every family with the ability to grow their own food. So ladies, thank you very much, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Deb, for those introductions. Well, I think we're all excited to be here. This is actually the first opportunity to be able to present on Double Up at the forum. I feel like we're in a pretty good place now in Indiana as we continue to see the momentum move forward. So this is going to be a very high level presentation since we only have an hour. There's tons that we could talk about with Double Up, and I know there's conversations around SNAP. So we obviously will be a resource for you all after this presentation as well. But feel free to ask questions in the chat, and of course we'll provide some contact information at the end as well. So I'm first just going to start the presentation giving a quick overview and background of Double Up Indiana. I first, just to share some context, I thought it'd be helpful to provide some definitions as we utilize these acronyms a lot through Double Up programming. Many of you know what SNAP stands for, what an actual incentive term means. Firm, this can be any outlets that we're providing Double Up at. Tokens and e-incentives, those are the different types of currencies we use. And then there's various models that I'll go over in a minute. And then of course the acronyms of some of the main funding streams when it comes to nutrition incentive programs. So Double Up Food Bucks, what it is at a national level, it was initially created by the Fair Food Network, probably a good 15 plus years now. It doubles SNAP transactions at participating firms. And generally where you see is a SNAP to fruit and vegetable match model, which is what our farmers markets are used to seeing. And then also there's a fruit to vegetable and fruit to vegetable model that you tend to see in the retail setting. That's more on a budget end as well because the funding can go fairly quickly within the retail setting with the SNAP to fruit and vegetable models. However, what we're also starting to see, there are currently 3 states that are piloting EBT integration. I believe it's Oregon, Louisiana, and Colorado. And what they're starting to see with that EBT integration is kind of the opposite of fruit and vegetable to SNAP model, meaning when families purchase fruits and vegetables with their SNAP card, they get double the dollars onto their EBT card that they can then use on any SNAP eligible food items. So either way, it's a dollar for dollar match. Typically, you'll see up to $20 match at farmers markets, and then depending on the funding stream, anywhere between $10 to $20 match at the retail setting. But we're just going to focus specifically on farmers markets in today's conversation. And then what are the benefits? You know, we've always recognized Double Up as a triple win. It's increasing our households on SNAP with getting more, fruits and vegetables into their home. It bolsters the local food economy and our growers, and then it also supports better nutrition while building a more equitable food system. Eventually, I'm going to get a nice timeline created. I'm only in week 3 in my new position, but I wanted to at least provide you all with some information and the evolution of Double Up within Indiana. So Fresh Bucks actually, I believe, was one of the first programs that actually started in our state. It was piloted in 2013 with the Indy Hunger Network. The program then expanded throughout central Indiana. It was funding that streamed from the Indiana Department of Agriculture. And then some of that funding changed a bit. The Indiana Department of Health had it as well. It did trickle through ICDC, so they're very familiar with how some of the funding works for these programs. And then, other programs started to develop throughout the state, but there was no uniformity. It was very siloed around the state of Indiana. However, in Indianapolis, the program administration transitioned over to the Marion County Public Health Department in the fall of 2018. A lot of that had to do with funding and also capacity. So there was really nobody that could lead the efforts. And we were fortunate enough to get the CDC REACH grant that Deb had mentioned in my introduction, where my position was created, and we were able to really facilitate and bring our partners together and get the program up and running again in Indianapolis. And then in 2019, the State Nutrition Action Committee, known as SNAC, which was started in the Division of Nutrition and Physical Activity here at IDOH, they surveyed stakeholders across the state and then determined that SNAP matching program collaboration was a priority. And so then that was when we worked on the creation of the Indiana Nutrition Incentive Network. And I'll go into what the future of that is later on in the presentation. And then Mary, I believe it was 19 when you all got GusNIP or around that time. And then St. Joe Foundation was awarded the Nutrition Incentive GusNIP grants. And that's when the branding really kicked off with Double Up Indiana. We got connected with her through these meetings and stuff, and we are where we are now with it. And then lastly, I'll just mention in Mary's presentation, she'll go over the statewide efforts, but in 2022, IDOH received the CDC Health Disparities Funding, which this funding was allocated to build a statewide Double Up Indiana pilot program. And the goal of that was to really provide the opportunity for more collaboration across our state, bring some uniformity to the branding, the model, the funding, and also build capacity and infrastructure for that technical assistance support for the program. And then the last couple of slides I just have, Allie and Mary will go into a little bit more details on program details, but just noting how it typically works with the farmers market. Each market has their own SNAP tokens because you are the approved SNAP firm. So you're going to have a SNAP FNS number, and you're the one that is being paid from the USDA for any EBT transactions you have. And so the SNAP currency that you use for that the farmers and growers are getting and they're returning back to you, that's USDA dollars that you're providing to them. SNAP tokens are not universal. Those are only spent at your market because of that specific FNS number for the market. Currently, Double Up currency is not universal yet. The goal is that once we get like a big bucket of money for statewide efforts, that hopefully those who have a currency for Double Up itself could spend it typically anywhere throughout the state. But a little ways to go on that, but that's really the ultimate goal. The Double Up logo may be used. We have all that information available on the Double Up Indiana website as far as marketing and promotion materials. There are expiration dates because there is deadlines on funding streams. And so the expiration dates need to be provided on the particular currency. And then there's no change given when it comes to Double Up. It's produce only as well. And the growers and farmers are really good at working with customers on this. They usually round up or down either way, but those markets and growers are very familiar with doing that. And then lastly, the other exciting thing is the fact that we have shared metrics with the pilot. And this is the type of data that we're going to have to collect when we apply for a large GusNIP scale and we get awarded. And so it's good to know that we can be able to provide this information not only to the grantee, the grantors, but also to our state policymakers and legislatures as we continue to work on appropriation dollars to keep these programs up and running. So that's a quick overview, and I want to now pass it over to Allie, and she's going to provide a local success story with the FreshBucks program.
Thank you, Michelle. And thank you, Christina, for inviting me here today to talk more about FreshBucks. And thank you, Deb, for the wonderful introduction. Next slide, please. So what is FreshBucks? FreshBucks is a SNAP matching nutrition incentive program that provides a dollar-for-dollar match on fresh fruits, vegetables, herbs, and edible plant starts. We match up to $20 per day at farmers markets and $10 per day at retailers. FreshBucks are loaded onto green cards that can be spent at any participating FreshBucks location in Marion County, and those funds expire 6 months after the date they were earned. The only true requirement for participants is that they must qualify for SNAP benefits and possess a SNAP EBT card known as Hoosier Works in Indiana. So why FreshBucks? 11.3% of Marion County residents were food insecure in 2021, which means that a little over 109,000 residents didn't have enough to eat and or didn't know where their next meal would come from. To preface some of the next bullet points, The Dietary Guidelines for Americans for 2020 through 2025 recommends 2 servings of fruits and vegetables, or I'm sorry, 2 servings of fruits and at least 3 servings of vegetables each day. From those recommendations, only 11.5% of adults in Indiana meet the daily fruit intake recommendations, and only 8.6% of adults in Indiana meet the daily veggie recommendation. Overall, we call FreshBucks a triple win. It helps individuals purchase and consume more fruits and vegetables, gives more money to local farmers, and helps strengthen our local economy. This then feeds into the goals of the FreshBucks program. So what are the goals? It is to increase access and affordability of fresh fruits and veggies for families on SNAP, improve quality of diet for participants, increase revenue for farmers, growers, and local retailers, and empower communities through socialization and economic activity. Next slide, please. This is a glance at our 2023 FreshBucks impact across all 17 participating sites. So $60,000 were spent in SNAP sales at FreshBucks farmers markets, farm stands, and grocery stores. Of those SNAP sales, $42,113.86 in FreshBucks were distributed to farmers markets, farm stands, grocery stores. We reached 2,255 SNAP household participants, and 40 Indiana growers benefited through farmers markets, farm stands, and CSA programs. Next slide, please. So diving more into the triple win that we mentioned earlier, in the summer of 2023, we deployed a FreshBucks participant survey. This allowed us to collect data on participants' experiences utilizing the program, economic impact on their household. And it also included a dietary screener questionnaire to allow us to evaluate the impact FreshBucks has had on nutrition. From those responses, some of the key findings are listed. 93% of participants reported that FreshBucks helps their household afford to eat more balanced meals. 83% of participants report buying more fruits and vegetables because of FreshBucks, and 50% of participants report being able to better afford rent, mortgage, or utilities because of FreshBucks. One element that I would also like to mention that is not listed is the impact FreshBucks had on their nutrition. Earlier, we reviewed the dietary guidelines for Americans. We saw that only 11.5% of adults in Indiana met the daily fruit intake recommendations, and only 8.6% of adults in Indiana met the daily veggie recommendations. Among the 2023 FreshBucks survey respondents, 18.8% respondents are meeting the DGA recommendations of consuming at least 2 servings of fruits daily, and 21.9% of respondents are meeting the recommendations of consuming at least 3 servings of vegetables daily. So we are seeing an impact FreshBucks is having on their nutrition. Triple win where farmers prosper. FreshBucks has 17 participating locations, 12 of which are farmers markets, farm stands, or CSA programs. Through those outlets, 40 local growers were supported and accepted FreshBucks. In 2023, $17,844 of FreshBucks were redeemed with local growers. This translates to an additional income of $3,000 to $4,690 earned by local growers through FreshBucks. For full transparency, there was a vendor that accepted FreshBucks on the last 2 market days, so they earned $3, and our highest vendor is participates in a year-round farmers market, which is where the $4,690 is coming from. So you can see here that there is quite a range, but there is incentive to participate. Next slide, please. Triple win, Indiana thrives. Here you can see the 2023 data of the economic impact of the FreshBucks program in Indiana. The economic impact represents the amount of money generated in Indiana from FreshBucks program sales. This includes the increased household purchases of fruits and vegetables, which are the total amount of incentives redeemed, and the respending of those incentive dollars in the economy by individuals and businesses along the supply chain. To calculate the economic impact, an economic multiplier was used. This was calculated with a 1.3 economic multiplier for brick and mortar stores and 1.6 for farm direct sites. It describes the total increase in output within an economy due to a $1 increase in spending. This information was calculated and made available by the Nutrition Incentive Hub's Economic Impact Calculator. The estimates used for this calculator are based on 2021 agricultural and food sector data and represent economic activity at the time. So looking at the data on the screen, you can see that $10,343 in fresh bucks were redeemed at brick and mortar sites, and $17,844 in fresh bucks were redeemed at farm direct sites. Applying the respective multipliers to each, so a 1.3 multiplier at brick and mortar sites, you can see an economic impact of $13,446 in Indiana, and a 1.6 multiplier added, or 1.6 multiplier for the farm direct sites, you can see a $28,550 economic impact. This brings a grand total of $41,996 for Indiana from the FreshBooks program. Next slide, please. After reviewing the program details and impact, I'd like to transition how it works. Historically, FreshBooks issued incentives with $2 paper checks at farmers markets. With ARPA grant funds that were awarded by the City of Indianapolis, FreshBooks transitioned to electronic benefits or digital incentives in April of 2022. As SNAP dollars are processed on tax machines at farmers markets or point of sale systems at grocery stores, a direct match is loaded onto a FreshBooks card for customers to use on future purchases of fresh fruits, vegetables, and herbs. Some of the perks with the e-incentives and Fresh Incentives platform are that it's easy to use for all parties involved. There is less stigma associated with the FreshBooks card. There is streamlined administrative data and robust reporting and quality control. Every farmers market and vendor that participates with FreshBooks has an account with Epic Technologies, our technology vendor responsible for developing the Fresh Incentive software and providing the hardware to conduct FreshBooks transactions. Vendors and outlets are able to use the same login associated with the Fresh Incentives app to access the online Fresh Incentives portal. This allows outlets to access data relevant to their operations, including reporting on cardholder usage statistics, transaction summaries, and vendor transactions, among other reports. So on the screen here, you can see a literal image of what a FreshBooks card looks like. And this screenshot is taken from a PAX terminal of the Fresh Incentives app. Next slide, please. So on the screen here, you can see the transaction process for a SNAP customer. So if you're a market manager that accepts FreshBooks, you will be provided with a PAX terminal to conduct SNAP and FreshBooks transactions. So let's say a customer comes to your market stand with a SNAP EBT card, also known as Hoosier Works in Indiana. They would inform the market staff or vendor how much of SNAP that they would want to spend at the market that day. The market manager would then press the EBT SNAP button there you can see on the screen and type in the amount of SNAP that they would like to spend at the market in the incentive eligible field. After keying in that value, you would press the green arrow in the top right-hand corner, and it would then prompt you to swipe the customer's SNAP card. After swiping the SNAP card, it will pull up with the screen of loading funds. This is where you will then swipe a FreshBooks card, or you can scan an image of the barcode on the back of the card. If they are a new FreshBooks user, on the bottom left hand of the screen, you would press the new incentive account, and from there you will see a new incentive card screen, which is the fourth screenshot. Here, you would scan or take a picture of the barcode of a new FreshBooks card and ask the participant to type in their phone number and their zip code. That is the only required information. However, we do like to ask participants to provide their name and additional details that it will ask on the screen. And this is just so that we have additional data to pull up on their account should they have issues with their login or transaction history. After swiping their FreshBooks card, it will pull a receipt that you are able to print for the customer, as the PAX machine does have a roll of receipt paper. So from here, that is how you process a FreshBooks transaction. That is how you sign up a new FreshBooks participant. But there are also other activities you can perform with the PAX machine. Some of those that you can see on the first screenshot here are refunds. Should something go wrong in the process with a vendor, you are able to refund funds back onto the Snap PPT and FreshBooks card. You can issue a new card as well as replacement cards, and you can check the balance. At the end of the day, you can also check your market history to go over data. The amazing thing about Fresh Incentives is not only does it have a user-friendly app for market managers, it is also user-friendly for vendors as well. With this, they also have an account with the online portal that you can access a lot of reporting for your functions or for your market functions, such as transaction history, transactions at specific vendors, if you are tracking performance, cardholder statistics, so you can see what your top performing days of the season were if you were to plan outreach events, and many other data that you can look into and evaluate. Next slide, please. So FreshBooks has 17 participating locations. 9 of those are farm stands. I'm sorry, 9 of those are farmers markets, 3 are farm stands, and 5 are local grocery stores. We actually are working to onboard 2 additional sites. One of those is Indy Fresh Market, which will be launching next Monday, February 12th, that we are very excited for. And you will be able to come out and visit us on March 5th, 7th, and 9th to sign up, communicate with the community, as well as receive plenty of goodies. We have reusable totes, cutting boards, grocery pads, measuring cups, everything that they would need to set them up for success with the additional produce that they will be purchasing with the FreshBooks program. And here you can just see some fun pictures that was taken across the 2023 season. We have the market manager from Binford, a participant shopping at the Indy Winter Farmers Market, a market manager processing a FreshBooks transaction on a PAX machine, some of the signage that we have available at the Broad Ripple and Pike Farmers Markets, as well as a picture of what those FreshBooks cards look like. The card holders do tell you what items are SNAP eligible and then what items are FreshBooks eligible to allow the participants to easily decipher as they are shopping that market. And some of the tokens you can see there. So now I'd like to pass it off to Mary Tyndall from St. Joe Community Health Foundation to share more information with you on the Indiana SNAP Matching Grant Program.
Great. Thanks so much, Allie. Really interesting stuff. So as Michelle provided an overview at the beginning, I started with the St. Joe Foundation in 2021, which was actually the first year that we were implementing a GusNIP grant in Allen County. I'm in the Fort Wayne area. So I cut my teeth on that program and started to learn how to implement how they like double up or SNAP matching programs to be implemented through the USDA GusNIP program. And then when Michelle and the state approached the St. Joe Foundation about launching the pilot project across the state using the CDC funds, we said, sure, why not? Let's see if we can get this going statewide. And we had a lot of planning, and we've made some mistakes, but I think for the most part, we've really seen some great cooperation and collaboration across the state. In fact, I see a lot of market managers on the call right now that I know that are part of the statewide pilot project, and I'm so happy to see them all, Nancy and Diana and Becca and Anna and Kim. So really happy that you all are here, and thanks for being the guinea pigs on this, because I know we've all been kind of working on it together. So the grant program started last year, and we provided, we accepted applications on a rolling basis, so kind of first come, first serve. And we provided funds for the matching dollars or the incentives, and then also for market operations, which I know was a big help for a lot of markets, to be able to purchase things like a tablet or do some marketing or help pay for some staffing to get the programming up and running. So next slide, please. So the program details are really what Michelle had gone over, and we implemented it in the same way that we implement the GusNet program in Allen County, and felt like that would be a good standard to set across the state. So dollar for dollar match up to $20 a day. It's the double up bucks are good on fruit and vegetables, mushrooms, herbs, and edible plant starts. And as Michelle stated, the markets decided how to issue those incentives, be they with tokens, tickets, vouchers, and then of course in Marion County and Central Indiana, they're the e-tokens, or with the Epic FreshBucks cards, as Allie talked about. And then at farm stands, we allowed just an immediate half off of all produce purchases up to $20 a day. So done in a variety of ways, but as Michelle stated, it'd be great to someday kind of follow in the footsteps of Michigan and to have a universal token or FreshBucks cards that people could use at any market across the state of Indiana. So that'll be the goal someday. Next slide. So so far in the program, really through the end of 2023, we brought 35 markets into the program and provided the grants and the training for those markets. Then if you add the 7 markets in Allen County that we manage through the GusNet program and our retail locations in Allen County and Marion County, you get a total of 51 locations across the state that are operating snap matching and that they're using the Double Up brand. And again, in Marion County, Central Indiana, they're kind of combining those Fresh Bucks and Double Up branding to bring uniformity to the program. And we allowed all the markets to choose whether they wanted to use the Double Up branding, but they all did because it's really relatively simple to implement. All those fruits and vegetables that you see on the slides and the fonts and everything are already pre-done. They are through the Fair Food Network, and in I think maybe 22 states are using that Double Up branding across the country. So a relatively simple brand to implement. Through October of 2023, we had $33,000 in Double Up incentives that were redeemed by customers at these markets, just at the markets through the 35 markets. And that is, so $33,000 in what I like to call free fruits and vegetables for people that would not have otherwise gotten them, and for the vendors that would not have had those dollars in their pockets to sell those fruits and vegetables. So next slide. So this is just a map that's on the website, the Double Up Indiana website, and it's a location map. It might have been a little bit more updated since the last time, but I think those are all the locations in Indiana. And of course, the goal is to expand that and to get anybody who wants to participate to put a dot on the map. But you can check that out at doubleupindiana.org. And next slide. This is some of the branding that we are referring to. If you'd like to take a look at it, again, it's under doubleupindiana.org, and there's a tab for resources on our page there. So anybody can download it and use it and adapt it because they're in the Word formats and the Excel formats and also the PDFs. So this is some of the branding. Again, we get it through Fair Food Network with an agreement with them, and then they are allowing us to use it with our program. And next slide. We do have a few translated into Spanish. And the next one. Let's see. So for 2024, what's going to happen? So it will continue in 2024. It was meant to be a 2-year program. So the same locations will continue. Plus we will have the capacity to add one additional market. The existing programs that need more double up incentive funds, we'll get those. So Diana from South Bend Farmers Market is on here, and they need more funds because they're a rock star farmers market. So they will have some more funds for incentive. There won't be any more additional operation dollars, however. So we will have all of the funding from the State Department of Health granted out really within the next couple months. And we will be done granting out our funds. There won't be any new applications taken, unfortunately, but I know we're going to continue to try to find ways to expand the program as we move through 2024 and beyond. Next slide. Just a few program results. We've had an end of year survey, the Goshen Farmers Market, which was the first one to join in. And that's another rock star market. Holy cow, they do a great job. So she talked about how much the customers love the program, and they saw a significant increase in the frequency of SNAP usage at their market. The Northwest Indiana Food Council submitted, and I think Becca's on the call, that this is a specific story about one customer, which I thought was really nice, that she said she didn't have to drive nearly 45 minutes any longer just to use her SNAP benefits at a farmer's market, and she could use those benefits and receive double up in her own community. And I thought that was really nice, the story of one individual. So thanks for submitting that information. I think that is it. And next up is Shalise Lee with the Indy Winter Farmers Market.
Hi, everyone. Good to see you again. So I'm just going to talk about, our market and how we manage our FreshBooks and double up, and just kind of maybe introduce a new concept that's kind of unique, that is absolutely unique to the winter market. So in addition to SNAP and FreshBooks and double up, the Indy Winter Farmers Market triples dollars that we, Growing Places Indy, fundraises from sponsors and individual donations. So when customers come to the Indy Winter Farmers Market, they can actually triple those dollars. They go from 20 to 60, which is fun and unique, and one of the reasons that I come to the market every Saturday. But we manage just like each other market. We have the pack system, thank goodness, because I have been at the market for 3 years and I'm pre-packed. So we had the spreadsheets, the checks, and a binder. And so I'm really grateful for the new technology that's been introduced. It makes it more manageable for us at such a large market. Our vendors use the double up, or use the packs. No, they don't use packs. They use fresh incentives. And it's been incredible to have the support of the Marion County Health Department, especially at the beginning of the season, helping the vendors get that set up so that they know how to utilize the application on their mobile devices. As a market manager, it just gets really hectic and we don't always have the time to assist with that. So having you guys support has been incredible and we thank you. What else? I think that with the fresh incentives, functions like the balance checking and the ability to replace lost cards, that has been really beneficial for our market. It allows us to troubleshoot on site and then get patrons out to spending their dollars, immediately. So that's also been a benefit that we're really grateful for. I think I did mention the triple match. And next I want to talk about our how we promote double up and fresh incentives. So we do a lot of market signage. So we impact like 40,000 people per season come through the Indy Winter Farmers Market. We're pretty big. We go for 6 months. We're not a year-round market, but we do get a lot of traffic in the months that we're open. And so that signage being there is key to a lot of newcomers that have no idea about double up. They come and they ask the questions, and we sign up probably on average 2 or 3 people per market just with new FreshBooks cards. And it's incredible. The response from a market goer that came, you know, with a certain amount that's going to get those dollars doubled is really special. We also have yard signs that we set up throughout the city. We try to hit our partners and then places where we know people can benefit from the double up. So we go to local schools around Marion County. We're also, we are really hitting the area around 16 Tech. So we are at the AMP at 16 Tech, which is right off of Indiana Avenue. And so we make sure that area is inundated with the yard signs. Social media is also a big way that we get our outreach out. We're constantly posting to Instagram and Facebook about the opportunities to double bucks there. And of course, word of mouth. So as a city contractor, I'm always meeting with farmers and other organizations that have individuals that use SNAP. And so I'm constantly passing out the flyers and, you know, letting them know what the options are to double these bucks. And then being community presence is also something that's important to us. So we will go to neighborhood meetings in our local surrounding areas. We pass out flyers at the schools. It's just kind of, you know, getting out there so that we have a presence. It's really difficult to get. It's difficult to get patrons out to speak the word about SNAP if they are using SNAP. So it's up to us to push it out. That's basically. Let's see. So what else? I wanted to talk about how SNAP impacts our vendors as well. So I think that with the increase of SNAP dollars through COVID, our vendors saw significant increase in sales. And as that's coming down, you know, we're seeing the effects of losing the COVID dollars. But it's not deterring our vendors from still shopping, especially because our market specifically offers the triple match. So, you know, they still have that fallback for sales. What we are seeing is that the SNAP dollars are being used more for the meats, the cheeses, the more higher value or higher priced items, not higher value, but higher priced items, so that our customers are able to use those fresh bucks specifically for produce. I mean, that's the only thing they can use it for, but they're not losing out. They're getting their double up, they're getting their triple match, and they're able to shop and support their family for an additional 3 days, right? And so it's been an incredible experience to offer double up in conjunction with the triple match. I think you just had shared a story about a lady that didn't have to drive the 45 miles or 45 minutes to double up her bucks, but we actually have a new patron as of January who does drive actually 45 minutes to come get the triple match. So that's been really nice. Yeah, it's been really nice to experience my regular patrons that come every week ready to double those dollars. I mean, I know at this point I've seen their kids go from 3 to 6, right? I've watched them. And so it's just been an incredible experience. Yeah, I think from our side, from a market manager side, those are the benefits. The impact has been incredible. And I really appreciate the program and being able to watch families stretch their dollars.
Well, thank you, Shalise. That was great. And, you know, Indy Winter Farmers Market, when I was at the Marion County Public Health Department, they were always our pilot group. You know, Growing Places Indy was always up for being the one to try it out first. And we did that when we went from tokens to checks and checks to the PAX machines using the Fresh Incentive app. So we really appreciate that. And I am just going to conclude here with sort of the future of Double Up Indiana. And as you can see from this presentation so far, collaboration is extremely important from, Marion County programming. That's huge. Having that expert matter and Allie there to then be able to communicate and work with the farmers market managers and the vendors, that is key to success in those programs. And so as we look for what it's going to look like throughout the entire state of Indiana, we're going to continue doing this landscape scanning and potentially identifying these like regional areas and spokes. I know with the Northwest Indiana Food Council, with Becca, they're doing a really great job at sort of providing that example of how they're collaborating with numerous farmers markets within that region, and that they would be the point of contact to sort of provide that TA support then to the farmers markets as well. And so if you are an organization within a region of Indiana that you may be interested in doing this as well, feel free to reach out to me and let me know. But our priorities are going to be the GusNIP grant. So the 2024 RFA has not been released yet. A lot of this has to do with the Farm Bill. Currently, the applications, it's a 50% match that you have to provide. And what the Farm Bill right now is trying to consider is reducing that down to a 25% match. So if we're going to be asking for $1 million, then we need to match funds. It also includes in-kind, $250,000 of that. And so we're working on that currently. I'm also going to be preparing a form for current funding markets and organizations that are leveraging funding with St. Joe, and then also any new potential partners. And I'm going to start collecting information that we are going to need for this application, because the Indiana Department of Health is going to apply to be able to hold the funding. And then if awarded, we'll be able to allocate this funding then out throughout the state. And we need to know like how much you're going to need, and are you SNAP approved, and what's your FNS number, and all of that fun stuff. So look for that in the near future. One other thing I'm excited about is we are going to be hiring a nutrition incentive coordinator here at the state, working alongside me. This person will be revitalizing the Indiana Nutrition Incentive Network, which Double Up is a pillar focus of that, and then also will be able to provide that TA support across the state. Our goal is not to be any kind of program implementers. We want to be able to supply the funding, provide the technical assistance to spoke organizations or direct farmers markets themselves, so that we can be able to really bring an inclusive program together for the entire state. And then, of course, continue to leverage funding even outside of GusNIP, because we know capacity is important. So if an organization that's considered a spoke, how can we get you funding to maybe get a Double Up coordinator in your area to provide that assistance and stuff as well? So we have a lot of ideas. We obviously want to hear from others too. We want to know, what is needed in your area, which I think is what the Nutrition Incentive Network is going to be helpful for. We want those stakeholders to be at the table so that we can continue to evolve these programs and know what do you need at the local level, because that's what's important. Every area can look very different in programming. And then the last few slides, I just have some resources. We can't do it all, but if you are a market that is interested in becoming SNAP approved and eventually getting Double Up, we do ask that you look for your contact information with Purdue Extension Community Wellness Coordinator. I have the link here, which we'll share. I know there's a number of community wellness coordinators online here, so if you wanted to plug that into the chat for them as well. If you are a market that already accepts SNAP, then we do want to hear from you. And so I put my email there. Feel free to shoot me an email. I'm going to put it in the link here in a minute, and then of course Christina can share it. I just did it last night, so hopefully it works okay. But I wanted to at least get some collection of information from those who are not connected with St. Joe yet. So if you're on this call and you're not connected with Mary, I want to hear from you so we can start bringing a little bit more information together of those that are not participating yet. So that way, when we do apply for funding or we do receive other additional funding, that we can include you in on that. And then, as Mary mentioned, there's great resources on the Double Up Indiana page, so feel free to visit that. And then the last one is just some additional resources from Double Up, the Fair Food Network. If you want to increase your knowledge on Double Up programs in general, the Nutrition Incentive Hub is amazing. Those markets that are interested in applying for SNAP, I did plug the link there. CDC priorities, I think it's important for people to recognize at a national level, what are these priorities that we are looking at addressing. At the same time, these pillars with the White House National Strategy on Hunger, Nutrition, and Health. That is really what is guiding our priorities and the way that we're moving these nutrition incentive programs. And now we want to leave it to a few minutes to provide you all to have the opportunity to ask some questions. I did want to mention, let me just get my cursor here over here to the chat. Just to reiterate in regards to the branding, so FreshBucks, when I was in the position, what the idea around that was that we started co-branding with Double Up Indiana so that we were recognized as being a part of that network. And so how we're looking at it now is the FreshBucks card is the currency, but we are Double Up Indiana. We're part of Double Up Indiana. And so as we can continue to see how the e-incentive platform evolves, if we're able to bring it to other parts of Indiana, then we can just continue kind of utilizing that same currency, the FreshBucks card. So hopefully that makes a little bit more sense. And then also as we start to see research and data on EBT integration, that may be a possibility of piloting within the state of Indiana as well. And my goal in this position is to put this system in place so that if there becomes any kind of federal guidance or federal processes in regards to incentives on the EBT card, that Indiana's ready, that we're in a place that we can easily transition into that. So I just wanted to provide a little bit more input on that question. Let's see.
I thought I'd add too, I know that Allie mentioned some of the evaluation and through the GusNIP surveys. So all GusNIP applicants have to do surveys of their participants. And the data they're collecting nationwide is showing that people who participate in Double Up programs eat more fruits and vegetables than the average American. And so that's really exceptional news for health outcomes. So that's a really good selling point, especially if you're trying to raise some dollars for your programming. Again, people participating in these kind of SNAP matching programs eat more fruits and vegetables than other Americans.
Sarah, I saw that you had a question in the chat about the cost and how the efficiency of the PAX machine. So, and Allie, please feel free to chime in with any additional information, but currently the health department, the Marion County Public Health Department pays for those PAX machines through the vendor that is used with the fresh incentive application. And so Allie helps the markets fill out the merchant document with the bank information, FNS number, gets the machine connected so that it's ready to be used at the market. And so the health department currently pays for all of that. The only thing at this point that the farmers market themselves are responsible for is the SNAP transaction, like 19-cent per transaction fee. But that automatically comes out of what is received from the USDA. So when funds are deposited into a market or organization's bank account that's overseeing the market, those fees are already eliminated when that funds are deposited. And so that's what's really nice about having that point of contact is Allie really helps those markets get there. And hopefully as we move forward and have the funding to be able to implement this in areas that may be interested, the goal is to be able to have that support for you as well.
So Christina just asked to clarify about the PAX machines and whether Double Up Indiana uses those. So in terms of the state funded program with the 35 markets that I mentioned, they are not using those. It's the Central Indiana Marion County program that is using those, because that's a different funding source. I hope that answered that.
Yeah. And we're no different than other states. The processing of SNAP is everywhere. You're either getting a SNAP machine for like what Marion County is doing, or you're getting one from the state agency. So in our case, FSSA can provide, those are PAX machines too. They're not integrated though with our application, unfortunately. But if you get a state equipment, that's a PAX. If you're doing, as talked about yesterday in Legita's presentation, if you're doing Total Pay Go with Nova Dia, that's another way of processing SNAP at your market. So there's really no uniformity to that at all, and nor is that even happening throughout the country. Our goal, though, especially when the new nutrition incentive coordinator on boards here, is we're going to start really continuing to get a tally of what equipment is being used at your market to process SNAP. That way we can have an idea of what everybody's doing.
So somebody just asked a question about smaller, more rural populations, and I'd be happy to talk to you, Lexi, if you'd like to. We do have some farm stands that participate in Double Up, and they do a great business, that are more rural, and they just can provide an immediate half off of a purchase of fruit and vegetables up to $20 a day. So there are some options like that for the small farm stands. If that's something you want to talk about, just reach out.
Perfect. I know we're almost at time here. I just plugged in the form, as I mentioned. If you are not part of the St. Joe funding and in contact with Mary, please fill this out. And even if you are and you want to fill it out, that's perfectly fine too. We just want to make sure we can start getting an inventory with as many markets out there that are accepting SNAP and have an interest in Double Up.
And never fear, everybody that's part of our program I'm giving your information all to Michelle, so she will be getting it all.
Fantastic. Well, I think we have a couple more minutes. Are there any last minute urgent questions? You all did a fantastic job, so kudos to the entire team. The panel was fantastic. All right, if not, I'm going to conclude the morning sessions.
All right, thank you, Christine.